Hello and welcome to this version of Blit Paint where I'm going to show you some of the new brushes and features. So first off, you'll see this panel up here with the brushes. You can easily pick these. You can also change opacity settings, opacity by pressure, general opacity, the size of the brush, size by pressure, and scattering as well. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is create a background, and this will just help the opacity work a bit better. So if you left click one color and right click another, gives you these gradients. Now just right click whatever gradient that you want. I'm just going to go with this one, and you see there's a whole set of layers here. So we start on this layer, but I'm going to move it up a few just to have a middle ground. I'm going to start on this layer. I'm going to pick some grass here, and the opacity is just a little bit short of what I need, so I'm just going to decrease the opacity by pressure, which means it will have less effect and it will just leave the opacity setting itself. If I do E or R, I can move the grass around. I can also just do a little bit of rotational range, and this will mix it up a little bit similar. I'm going to choose a couple of light tones just to make sure that we really see those grass tones come through. The rotational range is a bit too high. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now I just want to clear that layer, so I can do Shift C and it clears everything, but there is still undo memory, so I can easily undo that, but you don't actually see it. So I'm just going to clear the undo memory anyway. Right. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Right, for this one, I'm just going to turn the undo memory off by pressing O. I don't need any undos. This is all just fun. So I'm just painting some grass here. And let's say I want a tree just to be in behind this. So I'm just going to create kind of trunk color. Opacity is a little bit too short for that. If I hold down X, I can make this thinner, and Control R will make it follow, but just now it's 90 degrees off, so Shift R will make it go 90 degrees. And now I can kind of paint this in. Now if I hold Shift while I paint, I can kind of smudge. And at any time when I want to see it look like pixel art, I can press the top left key of the keyboard and get a pixel art type version of it. Okay, I'm going to carry on smudging and painting. So Shift while I paint, let me smudge, and it's giving me a nice painterly style. I'm going to make the brush quite small and decrease the spacing a bit. That way I'll get a bit more detail. I can Alt click to pick a colour, and Alt right click to pick a second colour, and it will mix between the two. Okay, let's go a layer below and add in some rock. So I do have a rock here. And I'm just going to make the opacity by pressure 0. That way we get the full rock. And I'm just going to make the colours white as well. Increase the spacing so it doesn't make as many. Just going to change the colours a bit. I'm going to a little bit of opacity. Okay, I'm going to increase the opacity and right click while I draw to erase some parts. If I hold down S while I draw, it'll make brush smaller. I can hold down Z while I do this as well, makes it easier to erase. And Shift will basically draw with the same brush. Now I really want to draw with a brush that makes sense to smudge. Decrease the spacing and play around with some of the settings here. Okay, I've got a few little branches here that I can maybe use as well. I'm going to go back here and I want to draw these in such a way that makes sense. Now, a bit of a furry tree if it looks like this, so I'm going to decrease the spacing. I'm going to do Control R so that it follows the mouse there, and a little bit of catch up because it's a bit too fast. Let's decrease the opacity pressure and maybe a little bit of ninja brushing so it gets bigger as I draw. Now I do have to make the sizing a little bit bigger for this to work. Some more spacing. Can hide the UI as well to make it easier. So I just need to brush clockwise for this. I could also turn that off and use E and R and just stamp a few of these in. Let's choose a slightly darker tone to get a bit of variation, even reach out a bit here. Now, the branches don't matter too much, you won't see them at the end once I've put a lot of leaves in. Okay, let's get some leaves. These ones look good. I'm going to hide the UI. I'm going to pick a couple of colors using the shortcut keys. Just need to see how this looks. I can work in a spare layer here just as a way of testing. I can always clear the layer later. So I'm going to bring the opacity by pressure down a lot and scale that up. Control R. Okay, a little bit of rotational range and a lot of spacing. Gives me something like this. I'm going to do Shift R just until it feels a bit better to work with. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Choose a couple of colors. Okay, Shift and C will clear that layer, and I can start painting in the same layer if I want, or go back to that layer. I'm just going to hide everything. I'm going to start painting in my leaves. Now, ninja brushing will make the leaves go bigger as I move quicker, so I need to watch that. Just going to rotate a little more. And I paint some in front just to hide a little bit of the tree. It's just as if to say the leaves are in front of it. I don't have to see all of the tree, just a little bit. Okay, and what if I forgot some details in the tree here? That's fine, I can always go down to the tree layer and I can paint some extra details. I want to make some shadows from the leaf, so I'm going to choose two kind of dark tones and put the opacity down a bit. I'm just going to paint a little bit on the tree here, just like that. Now I want to paint some highlights in the leaves, so I don't need anything too bright. I can use a couple of brown and green tones and go back to that layer. And with a low opacity setting, if I hold down F, I can brighten things up using that same brush. I'm going to hide everything. And the more I go over it, the brighter it gets. So just imagine the sun hitting it in the side here. Catching this bit as well. Okay, I'm going to go back here and choose a different kind of brush. Let's see, choose this one. And I'm going to do a little bit of highlight work on this as well, just a little bit at the bottom. I'll pick a couple of colours just to darken this side. Do a little shadow here. Let's go back to the grass layer and make some of this grass darker. So I'll go and choose this grass, scale it up a bit, and it's a little bit too dark, so I'll just go over it. A little rotation this way, and yeah, I can kind of play with that E and R keys to make some look like they're kind of falling over, and that keeps it quite interesting. I've seen some rocks a minute ago. I'm going to add in a rock. So just make sure my opacity by pressure is down. I think in the future we'll have that off by default, and it's up to you if you want it. So I'm just going to paint a rock somewhere. If we go below the grass, we can paint it behind. And we see this rock is green. I want to choose a couple of bright tones that help treat it like its natural colour. So we'll get more rocks in here. I'm going to press 2 for low opacity, and I'm going to go over some of these rocks. So I quite like this texture. Okay, let's go back to the other rocks here, these kind of painterly style ones, and go above everything. Or I can go in the same level as this, doesn't really matter. I just want to paint in some more rocks, so the spacing's quite high, and yeah, this looks good. Just dot a little rocks around here. Just make sure I paint in front of each one each time. Let's choose a kind of brown colour. We've got this blue colour here. Go. And then I can paint some more grass in front of that. Let's do a different kind of grass. Try this one. Again, a couple of bright tones will help. Bring that opacity by pressure down and scale it down a bit. I'm just adding in some little leaves here. Let's pick this green just to make it similar tone, and maybe a couple of different tones like that. It's starting to look quite good because it's quite busy with things. I just want to add some moss to the rocks here, so I could use this brush. And I'm just going to pick a couple of greens from the scene. So I can left click with Alt and right click with Alt to get two green tones. And I'm just going to paint, yeah, just on this layer. In fact, I'll go in this one where the rocks are. I'm just going to increase the size a bit more. And then I can paint some moss on these rocks here. Let's do a little bit of rotational range so that we get some angles from it. And do size by pressure is already on, so if I go quite low pressure, I can make that smaller. And these rocks are in front, so I just want to go to this layer and a bit like that. I'm going to press F a little bit just to get some highlights. Or I can pick some neighbouring green tones just to make it brighter. Okay, I've painted in front of the tree there, but that's okay. I can fix that in a minute. So I'll go back to the tree. I'm going to choose this brush here. And if I do Shift R, scale it down a bit, let's bring the spacing down. I'm going to go up to a layer here just so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, that looks nice. I just need to pick a couple of tones. I'm just going to paint in the tree a little bit more detail. I'm going to do Control R so that it follows, and then Shift R so that it's got that slight offset to it. Just a little bit of texture in the tree. Okay, so I'm going to just clear that layer, Shift C, and I can go back to the actual layer and do what I wanted. I can also use Shift while I paint to move some of that around. And it also quickly picks colours. Okay, I want to go back to the rocks here, so I'm already on a decent layer behind the grass here. And I just want to choose a couple of tones to darken the rock. Let's just choose a darker grey here. Yeah, that's better. This makes it look a bit more shadowy and rounded. Okay, so I'm going to go down to this layer. This layer doesn't look like it's doing too much, but there is a kind of ground here. So I'll leave that. Later on I'll have the ability to merge different layers, but for now I'm just going to carry on drawing. So just need something in the background. Just going to create some interesting shapes and tones. Let's get a few shrub type things like this one, and I'll just increase the size and a little bit of the spacing. I'm just going to rotate it a little bit like that, and I'm just going to pick a different tone so we get some tonal variation. Okay, and then I'm going to choose this one. Again, I'm going to go to a layer that I can try it with first. I just want to make some nice kind of red and pink type shrubs. So if I decrease the size a bit, can't really see that. The alpha is too low. Okay. So yeah, that's nice. I just want to do Control R so that it follows, and Shift and R until it's the right angle. Looks about right. I'm just making some kind of purple heather here. Scale it down a bit. let's just choose a brighter tone. Okay, I've got a little bit more room in the back here to paint a little highlight cloud, so let's see what I've got. These are quite nice tones, so I'm going to use this brush and I'm going to pick the background tone, and I'm also going to pick that tone and do a very low opacity. Oops. Let's do that again. Let's pick these tones and yeah, I just want to make a nice background glow. A bit like that. I've painted out some of the stems here, but I'm going to paint those back in. I'm just going to use a different brush. Let's see, be this one. Again, I'm just going to test it up here. It's quite nice. I'll just make it follow and rotate it. Okay, if I do hold down Z, I can treat this like an eraser. I'm just going to draw in the stems here. This gives it a nice contrast. So what else can I add really? See, there's plenty of brushes here. Got some chains and rocks, and I think we've used quite a few of these. Let's put in some mushrooms. So I'm going to go a layer above and a couple of light tones just to make sure that it doesn't deviate from the original color too much. And I'm just going to choose what way I want this mushroom to be. Maybe one there like that. That's not really good because the size was affected by pressure, and so was the opacity. It's quite a big mushroom, so Shift C to clear that layer. That's quite nice. Maybe just another one. Nope. Right, I'm just going to increase the spacing because it is scattering a bit. That's a nice one. Yeah, they're two nice ones. And let's put one over here as well. That's good. Right, so I'll go to the layer below and I'm going to choose some stems. That one's no good. I'm just going to use Z to get rid of that. Increase the size, opacity by pressure down. Size by pressure. Oops. Down as well. And it's no good. Let's make the spacing higher. Can't tell what size this is going to be. Let's turn that ninja brush down. A bit smaller. I only need one. Yeah, that's okay. Took a while, but it's a lot faster than drawing it. Oops, pressed the wrong button here. Okay, and then I can finally add in a bit more grass or whatever I have. This looks nice. And that just helps disguise those and fit them in a little bit. So I'm just going to spruce a few of these around. And a few in behind here. And just finish off with some extra grass. This one's quite a cartoony looking effect, so I'll just use that to help finish off a few bits. And a little in the foreground. And there you have it. So, nice little scene of some mushrooms, and yeah, it didn't take long to make. So it'd be good to see what you make, and yeah, feel free to post your images on the Discord. Feel free to join, and yeah, check out any other work that's been created. Thanks for watching. Bye.